Why do people manipulate you? Why does the friend who flatters you, the colleague who pretends loyalty, or the leader who smiles in public twist truth in private? The problem is simple. You live in a world where power, not honesty, rules human nature. Today, we unmask manipulation itself. Through the eyes of Machiavelli, power, the word rolls from the tongue like something dangerous, something men crave yet pretend to despise. To speak of power is to speak of the essence of human affairs. For everything that men do, they do from the desire either to gain it, to preserve it, or to keep it from being taken away. This is the first secret you must understand if you wish to pierce the veil of manipulation. It is not honesty, nor virtue, nor justice that commands human actions, but the pursuit of power and the dread of losing it. Why do people manipulate others? Because manipulation is the most efficient path to power without the risks of open war. A man may raise his sword and strike his enemy, but he risks wounds, vengeance, and the stain of blood. Far safer, and often more effective, is to speak a word that poisons trust, to offer a smile that disarms suspicion, to whisper a lie that bends another's will without them even knowing it. The manipulator achieves victory without a battlefield, dominion without open resistance. You see, men are not moved most by reason or fairness. They are moved by fear. Fear of being left behind, fear of losing wealth, fear of becoming insignificant. This fear is the soil in which manipulation grows. To make a man love you may take years, but to make him fear losing your favor may take only a moment. A ruler, a friend, even a lover can bend another with little more than the subtle reminder of what could be taken away. And once fear has gripped the heart, reason no longer guides the mind. Consider how a leader maintains order. He does not rely solely on affection, for affection is fleeting. A crowd may cheer today and curse tomorrow. Gratitude evaporates as quickly as morning dew. But fear, once planted, holds strong. Men are less willing to betray those they fear than those they love, for betrayal of love brings guilt, but betrayal of fear brings danger, and men choose survival above all else. Thus, manipulation often arises not from cruelty, but from a cold calculation. It is safer to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. But let us not mistake fear for terror. The clever manipulator knows terror creates rebellion, while controlled fear creates obedience. The master of manipulation balances this line with precision. He shows enough favor to keep hope alive, yet always reminds his subject that withdrawal of that favor is but a heartbeat away. It is this constant tension, this silent dread of loss, that keeps men loyal, not chains of iron but chains of the mind. Think also of how fear shapes ordinary life. The colleague who flatters his superior is not doing so out of genuine admiration, but out of fear of being overlooked for promotion. The friend who pretends agreement with your opinion may not believe you, but fears that to contradict you would risk losing your favor. Even in families, a child may manipulate a parent by displaying obedience not because of respect, but because he fears the withdrawal of affection or support. Everywhere you look, beneath the smiles and courtesies, fear directs the hidden strings. And here lies a darker truth. Power itself is addictive, and once tasted, men will use fear to keep it. Those who rise above others rarely surrender their throne willingly. They justify their manipulation as necessity, as the natural order, as the burden of leadership. But beneath these noble words lies a simple instinct, to avoid the dread of returning to weakness. Men fear falling from power even more than they once feared never gaining it. Thus, the powerful become the most cunning manipulators of all, for they have the most to lose. Understand this well. Manipulation is not merely deception. It is the art of using fear as currency. Those who master it spend fear like coin, rewarding with hope, threatening with loss, forever balancing between mercy and menace. The weak will always be manipulated because they fear more than they desire. The strong learn to manipulate because they desire more than they fear. Power and fear are the twin engines of human behavior. They explain why people twist truth, why they smile while plotting, why they flatter while despising, why they promise what they will never give. And once you grasp that fear is stronger than love, and that power is the ultimate prize, the hidden motives of men no longer surprise you. If you wish to understand why people manipulate, you must first understand the role of appearances, for in human affairs, appearance is often stronger than reality. Men judge not by what is true, but by what they see, what they hear, what they are told to believe. Thus, those who seek to influence others quickly learn that the most effective disguise is the mask of virtue. To deceive openly is dangerous, but to deceive under the cloak of goodness is nearly unstoppable. The manipulator knows that no man wishes to be ruled by a tyrant. No woman wishes to be exploited by a scoundrel, and no crowd will follow a leader who admits selfishness. Therefore, those who wish to command must learn to appear noble, even when their hearts are cold with calculation. They must speak of loyalty while planning betrayal, of honesty while weaving lies, of compassion while exploiting weakness. This mask does not simply protect them, it grants them power, for people long to believe in virtue. They cling to the illusion of goodness because it comforts them. Consider the man who wishes to climb in society. If he shows naked ambition, he will be envied, distrusted, and resisted. But if he veils his ambition in humility, if he bows his head while plotting his ascent, then his rivals lower their guard. He pretends to serve while preparing to rule. His smile hides his hunger. His soft words conceal sharp designs. Those who see only the mask believe him harmless, even noble, until he has already secured his place above them. Or imagine the lover who seeks control over another's heart. Rarely does manipulation begin with demands. No, it begins with displays of tenderness, of exaggerated care, of selflessness so pure it seems almost saintly. But beneath this mask lies calculation. The gift is not truly given. It is an investment, meant to bind the other in obligation. The sweet words are not an expression of love, but a net to capture devotion. And once the victim is caught, the mask can be adjusted at will. Sometimes gentle, sometimes wounded, sometimes stern, always crafted to maintain control. Even in the realm of politics, this principle reigns supreme. The ruler who desires obedience does not stand before his people declaring, "I will bend you to my will." Instead, he speaks of duty, of unity, of sacrifice for the greater good. He portrays his personal ambition as service to the state. He cloaks his appetite for power in robes of morality, convincing the people that to obey him is to obey virtue itself. And because men are eager to believe they follow justice rather than tyranny, they not only submit but defend the very power that subdues them. The mask of virtue works because men are poor judges of truth. They look only at the surface because to dig deeper would require courage, and courage is rare. A smile is accepted as sincerity, a solemn tone mistaken for honesty, a display of humility taken as proof of character. The manipulator knows this weakness and exploits it without hesitation. He does not need to be good. He only needs to look good, and yet this mask is not merely deception, it is a weapon. The most cunning manipulators understand that to wield power effectively, they must not only deceive others, but also convince others to spread the illusion on their behalf. The crowd admires the mask, praises the mask, protects the mask, and in doing so, they protect the manipulator himself. In this way, the mask becomes stronger than the man, for even when whispers of truth arise, they are drowned by the chorus of those who believe in the illusion. What makes the mask so dangerous is that it is not always recognized even by the one who wears it. A manipulator may begin by feigning virtue as a strategy, but over time, the performance becomes second nature. They learn to weep on command, to bow with practiced humility, to express outrage at injustice they secretly perpetuate. The mask fuses with the face, and even when stripped away, one is unsure where the performance ends and the reality begins. Look closely at those around you, and you will see the mask everywhere. In the colleague who flatters endlessly while secretly undermining. In the friend who always agrees, not out of loyalty, but out of fear of exclusion. In the leader who proclaims himself a servant of the people while enriching only himself. All play their part with skill, for all know that men are drawn not to harsh truths, but to comforting illusions. The mask of virtue endures because it feeds human desire. People want to be deceived. They prefer the beautiful lie to the ugly truth. They want to believe that their leaders are noble, that their lovers are pure, that their companions are loyal. To reveal otherwise would shatter the fragile order on which society rests. And so, the mask not only survives, it thrives, because it is supported by the very people it enslaves. To understand why manipulation works, one must descend into the hidden chambers of human nature. Men are not as strong as they appear, nor as rational as they claim. They carry within them cracks, and through those cracks the manipulator enters. These weaknesses are not rare flaws, but common ones, present in almost every heart. They are the doors left unguarded, the defenses already broken before the battle even begins. The first of these is greed. Men desire more than they need, more than they can hold, more than they can ever use. Offer them wealth, status, or even the illusion of gain, and they will kneel willingly. The manipulator knows this hunger well. He dangles rewards before his prey, rewards that may never come, yet the mere hope of them is enough to control behavior. A promise of future riches keeps men obedient long after they should have rebelled. The cunning ruler or schemer does not need to give everything. He needs only to promise, for men will chain themselves to the dream. Next comes vanity. No weakness is more universal. Men crave recognition, praise, the sound of their own names exalted above others. They wish to be admired not only for what they are, but for what they pretend to be. This is why flattery, though transparent, works so effectively. Tell a man he is wise, and he will ignore the evidence of his foolishness. Tell a woman she is beloved, and she will overlook the signs of betrayal. The manipulator does not waste time fighting against pride. He feeds it until his victim is blind. Vanity blinds more effectively than darkness. There is also insecurity, the hidden twin of vanity. Just as men long for admiration, they also fear they are unworthy of it. They doubt their own worth, their beauty, their intelligence, their strength. This gnawing doubt makes them pliable, for the manipulator steps in as both comforter and controller. By soothing insecurity with false assurances, he gains trust. By threatening to withdraw that reassurance, he gains obedience. Insecurity is a leash, invisible yet unbreakable, pulling men in whatever direction the manipulator chooses. Another weakness lies in the desire for approval. Men are social creatures, terrified of being cast out, desperate to belong. They will abandon truth for acceptance, betray themselves for the comfort of the group, and bend their principles to avoid isolation. The manipulator exploits this by creating circles of inclusion and exclusion, by rewarding loyalty with belonging and punishing disobedience with rejection. Few dare stand against manipulation when the price is loneliness. The desire to be embraced by others is often stronger than the desire to remain free. Do not think these weaknesses belong only to the simple or the ignorant. Even the powerful and the learned are slaves to them. Kings desire more territory even when their coffers overflow. Scholars crave recognition even when they possess wisdom. Lovers yearn for devotion even when they know the heart is fickle. The manipulator is merely the mirror, reflecting what already lies within. He does not create weakness. He discovers it and makes it serve him. Observe how these weaknesses appear in daily life. The merchant manipulates customers by making them feel exclusive, flattering their taste, and promising them status through possessions. The politician manipulates citizens by inflaming their fears, offering them protection in exchange for obedience, and appealing to their vanity as members of a chosen nation or people. The friend manipulates friend by exploiting secrets, insecurities, or the desire to be liked. Even the child manipulates the parent by crying not always from need, but from strategy, knowing that affection and guilt will win more than defiance ever could. And why does this succeed so easily? because men rarely examine themselves. They rush to uncover the faults of others, yet turn away from their own. They deny their greed while chasing wealth, deny their vanity while hungering for praise, deny their insecurity while begging for comfort. This blindness is the greatest weakness of all, for it makes them unaware of the chains wrapped around them. The manipulator thrives because his victims are too proud to admit their own vulnerability. There is also the illusion of control. Men like to believe they act from choice, yet most of their choices are the result of unseen pressures. Offer them two paths, and they believe they are free to choose, never realizing both paths were placed before them by design. They fight for one belief over another, never suspecting both beliefs were planted by a hand that seeks to profit either way. Human nature clings to the fantasy of freedom, even as it dances on strings pulled by another. These weaknesses, greed, vanity, insecurity, and the hunger for approval, form the stage upon which manipulation is performed. They are not rare exceptions but universal truths. Every man has them, though in different degrees. Some are ruled by their appetites, others by their pride, still others by their fears, but none are free of them entirely. And because these weaknesses are eternal, manipulation is eternal. As long as men desire more than they need, as long as they crave recognition, as long as they fear rejection, there will always be someone willing to exploit these cracks in the armor of the human soul. To speak of manipulation is not merely to condemn it, but to recognize it for what it is: a mirror. A mirror that reflects both the cunning of those who wield it and the frailty of those who suffer from it. It is tempting to imagine manipulators as monsters, creatures born of cruelty, distinct from ordinary men, but this is not so. The truth is darker, more unsettling. The manipulator is not separate from us. He is a reflection of us. He thrives not because he is extraordinary, but because he understands what most refuse to see. Look into this mirror, and you will discover that every man, every woman, possesses the seeds of manipulation. Have you never softened your words to gain favor? Have you never exaggerated a story to win admiration? Have you never concealed your true feelings to maintain advantage? These are not crimes of kings or villains, but common acts, small manipulations woven into daily life. The great deceiver and the humble beggar differ only in degree, not in kind. The mirror reveals that the line between manipulator and manipulated is faint, often invisible, and easily crossed. What gives the manipulator his power is not merely his cunning, but the blindness of others. Men prefer to think of themselves as too clever to be deceived, too strong to be swayed. Yet it is precisely this pride that ensures their downfall. They see only the flaws of others, not their own. They mock the fool who is tricked, never realizing they too are being guided by invisible strings. The mirror shows the harsh truth. Every man is vulnerable. Every man is weak, where he believes himself strong. This is why manipulation endures across all ages, from the courts of princes to the marketplaces of peasants. The faces change, the costumes change, but the mirror remains the same. Those who understand it are never entirely at the mercy of others, while those who refuse to gaze into it are forever prey to illusions. The manipulator is nothing more than a man who has looked into the mirror and chosen to embrace what he saw. He accepts that men are not ruled by virtue, but by fear, by desire, by vanity. He accepts that illusions are more powerful than truths. And having accepted this, he gains an advantage that others cannot imagine. But the mirror does more than expose weakness. It also offers protection. For when you recognize the patterns of manipulation, when you see how fear is used as a chain, how vanity is stroked like a pet, how insecurity is fed like a hungry flame, you are no longer blind. The tricks that once bound you lose their hold. You see the smile that conceals betrayal. You hear the flattery that hides contempt. You feel the promises that carry only emptiness. You begin to notice the strings before they tighten. Awareness itself becomes armor, and awareness is granted only to those willing to look honestly at their own reflection. Consider how dangerous this mirror becomes for those who truly master it. They learn not only to recognize manipulation, but also to wield it with precision. They understand when to conceal and when to reveal, when to inspire fear and when to offer comfort, when to flatter and when to wound. To such men and women, others are open books, their weaknesses written plainly, their desires predictable, their fears exploitable. And yet, these manipulators remain hidden in plain sight, for their power does not appear as force but as persuasion, not as domination but as choice. Their victims believe they have chosen freely, never realizing their path was chosen for them. The mirror teaches another unsettling lesson, that those who manipulate are themselves manipulated. The king who deceives his subjects is in turn deceived by his courtiers. The lover who controls with sweetness is in turn controlled by fear of abandonment. The merchant who ensnares his clients is ensnared by his hunger for profit. No one escapes the mirror's reflection. Even the fox who outsmarts the lion must still watch for the hunter. Manipulation is not a single act but a cycle, where every hand that pulls a string is itself bound by another. Thus, the dark mirror reveals the greatest irony. In striving to dominate others, men are often enslaved by their own need to dominate. The manipulator is not free, for he must constantly maintain illusions, guard secrets, and balance lies. He may appear powerful, yet he is also prisoner to the very weaknesses he exploits. His greed is unending, his vanity insatiable, his fear constant. The mirror shows not only the victim's chains, but also the manipulators. Both are bound, though by different ropes. The mirror is dark because it does not flatter. It does not tell you that you are immune. It does not promise that goodness alone will protect you. It shows instead that human nature is raw, selfish, and unpolished, that weakness is eternal, that deception is natural. It shows that the world is not divided neatly between villains and saints, but between those who see and those who refuse to see. And once you dare to look into it, you cannot unsee what it reveals. You have seen now the hidden machinery of manipulation. You have learned that power is born not from honesty, but from the careful balance of fear and desire. You have witnessed how men conceal their ambition behind the mask of virtue, how they exploit the cracks of human weakness, greed, vanity, insecurity, the hunger for approval. And you have stood before the dark mirror, where the manipulator and the manipulated are revealed as reflections of one another. The problem we set out to solve was simple. Why do people manipulate others? The answer is not simple at all. They manipulate because human nature allows it, because appearances deceive more easily than truths, because weakness begs to be used, because power is never satisfied. Manipulation is not an accident of history. It is the very rhythm of human interaction. What matters is not to curse it, but to see it. For the man who sees cannot be blinded. The woman who knows cannot be easily deceived. When you recognize the chains others try to place upon you, you may choose whether to resist them or to learn how to wield them yourself. Knowledge of manipulation is not only defense, it is also power. And in a world ruled by appearances, fear, and weakness, power belongs to those who understand.